The alien had traveled across many light years, leaving behind the blue skies and silver oceans of his homeworld. He had been chosen as part of a peace exchange program between his people and the humans of Earth. And for him this was a great honor, but also a great danger, because he had heard stories that humans were strange, unpredictable, and often careless with the traditions of others. When he first stepped onto Earth soil, he noticed the air was heavy with smells. Warm bread, roasted meat, sweet fruits. The humans seemed to live in a world full of food, and they carried it everywhere, eating as they walked, chewing as they talked, offering bites to one another like it meant nothing. But for the alien, it meant everything on his planet. Food was never shared without meaning. Food was sacred. Food was a promise, and the act of giving food to another person was the greatest ritual of all. It meant one thing only. It meant marriage. It meant a vow to bind two lives together forever, and the alien had always believed that such a moment would come only once in his life. Carefully chosen, deeply respected, but on Earth, within his first day, he saw humans tossing food across tables, laughing as they broke bread together, sipping from each other's cups, handing out sweets like falling stars, and his heart trembled with confusion. Did these people not understand the power of what they were doing? Did they not know that they were proposing unions 100 times a day? He sat in a wide hall with other visitors, his strange skin glowing softly in the earth light, his translator buzzing in his ear to keep up with the flood of human words. He was nervous, watching every move, and then it happened. The first shock. A human placed a plate before him, steaming with hot rice and vegetables, and smiled warmly, saying, "Here, try some. It's good." The alien froze, his four fingers tightening on the edge of the table. His heart raced, his mind shouted warnings. This was it. This was the moment he had always prepared for. The sacred proposal. The union request. The start of a bond that could never be broken. Yet the human gave it so casually, without ceremony, without witness, just smiling as if nothing had happened. He looked around. No one gasped. No one rose to sing the wedding chants. No one cried tears of joy as was tradition on his homeworld. Instead, they simply kept eating, laughing, passing plates around. Every bite a storm of proposals to his eyes, and he felt dizzy. Was he trapped in a world where marriage was a game, where vows were thrown away like crumbs? He reached for the food slowly, his mind spinning, his voice trembling as he whispered to himself, "This human has chosen me. This human has asked for my bond." His people's laws were clear. If food was accepted, the bond was sealed. If food was rejected, it was an insult so deep that wars had started from it. So what was he to do should he refuse, risking the anger of these strange humans, or should he accept, binding himself forever to a human who did not even know the weight of the act? He picked up the spoon, his hand shaking. The human across from him kept smiling, encouraging him to try the food. The alien's heart thundered. Every movement was heavy. The spoon touched the rice. He lifted it, and with one slow motion, he placed it into his mouth. The taste was warm, rich, full of flavor he had never known, but the meaning was sharper. It cut into his soul. The bond was sealed. The human had asked, and he had answered. The alien lowered the spoon, his eyes locked on the human's face, searching for some sign of understanding, some hint that the human knew what had just happened. But the human only laughed and said, "Pretty good," right before turning to chat with another friend. The alien's chest burned. His mind screamed, this was not a simple meal. This was not casual. This was destiny. And yet the human walked away without a thought. He whispered to himself again, his voice trembling. Does this human even know what they have done? Does this human know they have just married me? The night ended with more food, more laughter, and more confusion. The alien returned to his room restless, his heart torn between duty and fear, between tradition and survival. As the stars of Earth shone outside his window, he knew one truth: his life had changed forever, and the human who had casually offered him a plate of rice was now, by the law of his people, his chosen partner. But the question burned inside him like fire. Did the human mean it? Or was he now trapped in a bond that only one heart understood? And with that thought, he closed his eyes, knowing tomorrow would only bring more confusion, more danger, and perhaps more proposals hidden inside every bite, every cup, every crumb shared in this strange world. The alien woke the next morning with heavy thoughts, his mind still burning from the strange dinner the night before. He had accepted the food, he had accepted the bond, and in his heart it was already sealed. But the human who had given him the plate did not act like a partner, did not show the signs of union. Instead, they simply treated it as nothing, and that mystery weighed on him like a mountain. He walked through the city with careful steps, his eyes wide as he studied the human world. Everywhere he turned, food was present. In shops, in homes, in the streets, people carried cups of hot drinks, small bags of snacks, plates of fruit. Humans seemed to live in constant connection with food, and what shocked him most was how easily they shared it. On the corner of a busy street, two friends laughed as they split a sandwich into halves. One friend gave the bigger piece without hesitation. The other accepted with a smile. No ceremony, no vows, no sacred songs, just quick bites and jokes. And the alien's heart beat faster. For him, this was a wedding right in the open. Yet no one clapped, no one cried. No one treated it as a sacred union. Further down, he saw children trading small packets of sweet candies. One gave away 3 pieces, the other handed back 2 in exchange. It looked like a market of marriages. Tiny vows tossed back and forth with sticky fingers. The alien almost gasped. On his planet, such an act would unite families. Here it united only children in play. At a workplace nearby, humans sat together in a break room. One lifted a cup of hot coffee and said, "Here, take a sip." The other accepted without hesitation. The alien froze. The shock struck him harder than before. A sip from another's drink was beyond marriage on his planet. It was intimacy deeper than life. Something shared only once in eternity. And here it was given away as easily as air. The alien's mind swirled. Every act he witnessed was a chain of vows. Every bite exchanged was a marriage. Yet none of the humans seemed bound. They laughed, they worked, they went their separate ways. If his people lived this way, there would be endless wars, endless betrayals, endless broken hearts. But humans carried no pain in it, only joy. He whispered to himself as he stood in the shadow of tall buildings. Do they not understand? Do they not feel the weight of their actions? Or is there some hidden rule I do not see? Later that day, he was assigned a guide, the same human who had given him the food last night. The human's name was Daniel. His smile was open, his voice calm. He walked beside the alien with a casualness that felt unreal. To the alien, it was like walking beside a life partner. But to Daniel, it was just another day. Daniel bought a small bag of roasted nuts from a street vendor. The smell was warm and sweet without thinking. He offered some to the alien. Want to try? They're really good. The alien froze again. His chest tight, another proposal, another vow. This was no longer confusion. This was dangerous. How many bonds could one human give? How many unions could one heart contain? But refusing would be insult. His people's code was clear. So he reached out with trembling hands and accepted a nut. Placing it carefully in his mouth, the taste was sharp and smoky, but the meaning was heavier than the sky. He looked at Daniel, trying to see if he understood. But Daniel was already popping another nut into his mouth, smiling as if nothing important had passed between them. The alien's heart whispered, "How can he not see? How can he not know that we are now joined?" Not once but twice, throughout the day, the alien saw more. Workers sharing slices of cake for a birthday. Strangers at a park offering chips to each other. Even a woman handing a piece of fruit to a dog. The alien's head spun. If food was the symbol of union, then this planet was a web of countless marriages, a world where vows were made and broken within moments. Yet he also noticed something else, a strange warmth in the humans. Though their food sharing seemed careless, there was kindness in it, generosity, joy. No one seemed afraid of betrayal. No one seemed weighed down by duty. It was as if their world survived not on laws, but on trust. That thought frightened him, but also pulled at him. Could it be that humans had found a way to turn the most sacred act into something ordinary, without destroying themselves? Could it be that food to them was not chains, but bridges, not vows, but invitations? As the sun began to fall, Daniel turned to him with a smile. "Hungry? Want to grab dinner?" The alien's chest tightened. Dinner? Another bond, another vow, and this time perhaps something even greater. He nodded slowly, his voice low. "Yes, I will come." But inside his heart roared with fear and wonder. For each meal with a human was not just a meal, it was destiny, and the alien knew that soon he would have to choose. Either reveal the truth of his people, or drown silently in a world where every bite meant marriage, and every laugh meant a broken vow. The night ahead promised answers, but also deeper danger, for with every plate, every spoon, every crumb, the line between casual human habit and sacred alien bond grew thinner, and one day it would snap, and when it snapped, the alien did not know if it would bring love or war. The alien walked beside Daniel as the evening air cooled. The streets glowed with lights and sounds. Humans hurried past carrying food in their hands. drinks in their cups, laughter in their voices. It felt like the whole world was built on sharing, but to the alien it felt like living inside a storm of proposals. He watched Daniel closely. Every step, every smile, every gesture. For Daniel was not just a guide anymore. Daniel had shared food twice. Daniel had sealed bonds without knowing, and on the alien's world this meant one thing only. Daniel was his partner, his chosen, his other half. Yet Daniel did not act like a partner. He acted like a friend, light-hearted and free, unaware that his simple kindness had tied two lives together forever. Inside the alien, fear battled with longing. He wanted to protect Daniel, to honor him, to walk by his side with pride, but he also feared what would happen if Daniel kept offering food. How many bonds could one alien heart endure? How many vows could a human break without even knowing? They entered a small human cafe, the smell of bread and coffee wrapped around them. Daniel greeted the worker with a smile, ordered 2 meals, and without hesitation handed 1 plate to the alien. "This one's for you," he said. The alien's breath caught, his chest tightened. Another bond, another vow, this time in front of witnesses, in front of strangers who saw nothing but kindness. While he saw the most sacred ritual of all, he reached for the plate slowly, his hands trembling, whispering inside. "This is it, the 3rd seal, the final union." He sat across from Daniel, watching him eat casually, chewing with joy, sipping from his cup. The alien copied the motions carefully, afraid to break any rule, afraid to insult, yet every bite was heavy with meaning. Every sip was eternal. Daniel spoke freely, telling stories of his life, his friends, his family. The alien listened in silence, his heart thundering. Every word from Daniel felt like a promise, every laugh felt like intimacy. Every glance across the table felt like fire. At one point, Daniel pushed his drink forward. "Here, try this." "It's sweet," he said. The alien froze, staring at the cup on his planet. This was beyond marriage, this was life itself. To drink after another was to share spirit. To unite souls, it was the deepest bond possible. The alien lifted the cup with shaking hands, touched it to his lips, and let the taste flow into him. It was warm and strange, but what mattered was not the flavor. It was the meaning. His life was now bound tighter to Daniel than he had ever imagined. He set the cup down slowly, his eyes never leaving Daniel's face. But Daniel only grinned and said, "Good, right?" then went back to eating. Unaware of the storm raging across the table, the alien wanted to speak, to explain, to reveal the truth of his people, but the words caught in his throat. If Daniel knew, would he laugh? Would he reject? Would he see the alien as foolish? Or worse, would he be angry? So the alien stayed silent, choosing instead to honor the bond in his own way. He decided then and there that he would protect Daniel. He would guard him from harm. He would watch him in every step, because whether Daniel knew or not, they were now joined when they left the cafe. The streets were quieter. The night sky stretched above them. Filled with stars, Daniel walked ahead, hands in his pockets, humming a song. The alien followed closely, scanning the shadows, alert for danger. A group of strangers passed by, laughing loudly. One bumped into Daniel roughly. Daniel laughed it off, but the alien stepped forward, eyes glowing faintly. Ready to defend, his heart roared. No one would harm his partner, not while he lived. Daniel glanced back, surprised at the alien's stance. "It's fine," he said lightly. "Just a drunk guy." But the alien did not relax until the strangers were gone. His body tense, his mind focused. That night in his room, the alien sat alone, his thoughts burning. He remembered the meals, the drinks, the laughter, the warmth, and his heart whispered, "He is mine, he has chosen me." Even if he does not know it, yet fear whispered too. What if he never learns? What if he never sees the bond you carry? The alien closed his eyes, resting his head against the wall. He knew one truth: he could not walk away, not now. Not after 3 meals. Not after sharing a drink. The bond was too deep, too final, too sacred. Daniel was his, and he would not let go. But another question haunted him in the silence. If Daniel keeps giving food, keeps sharing, keeps offering without care, how many more bonds will form? And how long before the alien heart shatters under the weight of love unspoken? The night stretched long. The stars outside shone like witnesses, and the alien's resolve hardened. Tomorrow he would walk beside Daniel again. Tomorrow he would guard him. Tomorrow he would act not just as a guest, but as a partner in secret. For the first bond had been sealed, and with each passing day, it only grew stronger. The days passed quickly. But for the alien, each moment with Daniel felt heavier. for Daniel's world was simple and casual. But the alien's heart carried the weight of vows unspoken. He walked beside Daniel as if they were already joined for life. Every smile from Daniel warmed him, every laugh filled him with joy, and every shared meal deepened the bond until it felt unbreakable. To the alien, they were already engaged, not in the way humans use the word, but in the ancient sense of his people, the sacred tie of food, the eternal joining of lives. He saw Daniel not as a guide or a friend, but as a partner, a chosen soul, a future bound to his own, and yet Daniel showed no sign of knowing. Every day Daniel shared food without hesitation. A piece of bread, half a sandwich, a sip of coffee, sometimes even something small like a candy or a fruit. And each time the alien's heart throbbed with both joy and fear. Joy because the bond was being renewed. Fear because Daniel still treated it as nothing. The alien began to change, his behavior shifting. He stood closer to Daniel in crowded streets. He watched strangers carefully, scanning their faces for threat. He carried bags for Daniel without being asked. He listened to every word with devotion. And though Daniel laughed at times, calling him loyal like a guard dog, the alien only nodded silently, for in his heart he was not guarding a friend. He was guarding a life partner. One afternoon, Daniel invited him to a gathering, a small party with friends. They sat in a warm room filled with chatter, music, and plates of food. Humans passed dishes around, offering bites and drinks to one another without care, and the alien felt his chest grow tight. To him, this was a hall of weddings, hundreds of bonds forming and breaking in a single evening. Daniel laughed as he cut a slice of cake and placed it in front of the alien. "Here, you'll like this," he said. The alien accepted with trembling hands. Each bite was sacred. But when Daniel turned and fed another slice to a friend across the table, the alien's mind roared in silence. Betrayal. Another vow given away. How could his partner offer food to someone else? He clenched his fists under the table. His people's law was strict. Once food was given, no other could be offered in such a way. It was loyalty or nothing, yet Daniel broke it casually, not knowing the wound it left in the alien's heart. The alien stared at Daniel with burning eyes, but Daniel only laughed unaware, chatting freely with friends, wiping frosting from his fingers, sipping from a drink, offering it around, and each act cut the alien deeper. Still, he did not speak. He could not. The risk of revealing the truth was too great. If Daniel laughed at him, if Daniel rejected him, it would break his soul, so instead he swallowed the pain and wore the mask of silence. In the days after, his devotion grew sharper. He followed Daniel closely. He stepped in front of danger before it could touch him. He picked up on details Daniel ignored, like the way a stranger stared too long, or the way a car slowed near the curb. Daniel thought it was paranoia, joked that the alien was acting like a bodyguard, but the alien only bowed his head. Inside, his vow burned. He was not guarding a friend. He was guarding his bond, his chosen, his partner in secret, but cracks were forming. The alien could not keep the storm locked inside forever. One evening, he overheard humans in the street. They joked about food sharing, saying things like, "Here, have a fry, don't worry. It doesn't mean we're married." And everyone laughed. The alien froze, his chest heavy. The words echoed like thunder. So humans did know. They did know food was tied to meaning, but they laughed at it, they mocked it. To them it was a joke. A careless phrase, not a sacred truth. The alien's heart sank. Was Daniel laughing at him too? Had every plate, every cup, every bite been nothing but a game? That night he sat alone, staring at the walls of his small room, his mind racing, his vow trembling, his heart breaking. He whispered into the empty air. Does he know? Does he laugh at me too, or am I the only one carrying this bond? The silence gave no answer. Only the stars outside blinked like cold witnesses. Yet even in his pain, he could not walk away. He could not break the vow. He could not betray the bond. He told himself he would endure. He would stay silent. He would guard Daniel until the end. Whether Daniel knew or not, whether Daniel laughed or not. And so the alien embraced his role. The silent engagement, the secret vow, the hidden marriage that only one heart carried. But deep inside, a storm was rising. A storm of fear and anger and longing. And he knew that one day it would break. One day the truth would come, and when it came, it would change everything. The alien could no longer hold the silence inside. Days had turned into weeks. Meals had turned into chains of vows. And every time Daniel shared food with others, the alien's chest burned with pain. He had sworn to protect Daniel. He had sworn to honor the bond. But now the bond felt one-sided, like a bridge with only one traveler. He followed Daniel into the quiet park that evening. The lamps glowed faintly. The leaves rustled in the night air. Humans walked their dogs. Children laughed in the distance, but for the alien, the world narrowed to Daniel's face, to his voice, to the weight of the truth he carried. Daniel sat on a bench eating from a paper box of noodles. He smiled and offered the alien a bite. "Here, try it. It's good." And that was the moment the alien broke. His hand froze in midair, his chest heaved, and his voice finally escaped. "No," the alien whispered, but his voice was sharp, trembling, filled with fire. "Do you know what you are doing? Do you know what it means when you give me food?" Daniel blinked. Confused, he laughed nervously. "What do you mean it's just noodles? Just sharing dinner?" The alien's eyes glowed faintly. His voice cracked with emotion. "It is not just noodles, it is not just dinner. On my world, food is sacred. To give food is to give your heart. To share drink is to share soul. Every time you place food in my hands, you are asking for marriage. Every time I accept, I am bound to you, and you, Daniel. You have bound me many times over." Daniel's smile faded. His mouth opened slightly. His hand stilled. He looked at the alien with wide eyes, searching for the truth in his expression. The alien continued, his voice heavy. "Do you not see? I have carried this vow in silence. I have guarded you as my chosen. I have stood by you as my partner. While you, without knowing, offered vows to many, to friends, to strangers, even to children, you give away pieces of yourself so easily. But for me, each piece is eternity." Daniel set the box of noodles aside. His heart pounded, his words stumbled. Wait, you're saying, on your planet, giving food means marriage?" "Yes," the alien said, his eyes fierce but filled with sorrow. "It is the highest vow, and I have accepted it. I cannot unbind it, I cannot ignore it. I am yours, Daniel. And I have been yours since the first plate you gave me." Silence hung between them, thick and heavy. Daniel looked away, running his hands through his hair, trying to understand, his mind spinning. Memories rushing back of every time he had casually handed food to his alien friend, never knowing the storm it created. He whispered finally, "I didn't know, I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to play with something sacred. On Earth, it's just kindness. It's just habit. We share food to show we care, but it doesn't mean forever. It doesn't mean marriage. It doesn't mean what it means to you." The alien's chest tightened, his voice broke. "So you do not want me? All this time I thought we were joined. I thought you had chosen me. But to you it was nothing, just habit, just play." Daniel's eyes softened, guilt rising inside him. He reached out slowly, placing a hand on the alien's arm. "Listen, I didn't know, but now I do. And I understand why you've been acting this way. Why you've been guarding me, why you've been so serious. I wasn't laughing at you, I wasn't mocking you. I just didn't know." The alien trembled under Daniel's touch. The warmth of his hand felt like a flame. But doubt still tore at him. "If you had known, would you still have given me food? Would you still have chosen me?" Daniel hesitated. His heart beating fast, he looked into the alien's glowing eyes, and for the first time he saw not just an alien visitor, but someone loyal, someone devoted, someone who had carried love in silence. He whispered, "I don't know what marriage means to your people in full, but I know one thing, I do care about you, more than I thought I would, and maybe I was offering more than I realized. Maybe my heart knew even when my mind didn't." The alien's breath caught, his eyes widened, hope flickered, but fear still lingered. "Do you speak truth? Or are these words to calm me?" Daniel shook his head, his voice steady. "It's truth. I can't promise I understand everything yet, but I want to try. I want to understand what it means to you, and maybe I do want what you've been carrying all along." The alien closed his eyes, a single shiver running through him, relief and wonder mixing. Yet he also knew the path ahead would not be simple, for now the secret was out. The clash of meanings had torn the silence apart, and two worlds, two hearts, had to find a way to meet in the middle. The night around them seemed to listen. The leaves whispered above, the stars watched in silence, and though fear still lingered, hope had finally spoken. The park was still, the air cool with night. The alien sat rigid on the bench, his glowing eyes fixed on Daniel. The truth had been spoken, the silence broken, and now everything hung in the fragile balance of a single choice. Daniel leaned forward, his elbows on his knees, his voice quiet. "I never knew. I never thought food could mean so much. On Earth we give it to show kindness, to be friendly, to say you are welcome, but not to bind forever, not to vow for life. But now I see. To you it is not habit, it is not play, it is sacred, it is love. The alien's chest trembled, his voice heavy. Yes, and I have carried this vow from the first plate. I could not refuse, I could not insult. But each time I accepted, my heart sealed tighter. My life tied deeper to you, I cannot take it back. I would not even if I could, but tell me, Daniel, do you want this bond? Or will you leave me in silence? Daniel looked down at his hands, remembering every careless offer, every laugh. Every time he had said, try this or have some, he had given without thought. But now those small acts carried the weight of eternity for the one beside him, and the guilt pressed on him like a stone. He whispered, I never meant to hurt you, never meant to play with your heart. And now I see how much you've been carrying alone. All the times you stood close, all the times you guarded me. I thought it was habit, but it was love, it was vow. The alien turned his face away, afraid of false comfort, his voice sharp but trembling. Words are easy, Daniel, but on my world words are not enough. Only action seals truth. You gave me food without knowing, and I accepted with full heart. If you do not mean it, say so, and I will carry the wound in silence. But if you do mean it, then show me, choose me. Daniel's heart raced. The weight of the moment pressed hard. He knew this was not like human love where time could stretch, where choice could be delayed. This was immediate, eternal, sacred, and he had to decide. He reached into the paper box of noodles, lifted one piece carefully, held it out with steady hands, his voice firm. This time I give it knowing. This time I give it with meaning. I want to choose you. The alien's breath caught, his glowing eyes widened. The world seemed to fall away. The sound of leaves, the laughter of distant children, the city hum all faded. Only the bite of food between them remained. A bridge, a vow, a choice slowly, with trembling fingers. The alien reached out, accepted the bite, placed it into his mouth. His chest shook as he swallowed, his voice breaking as he whispered, Now it is true. Now it is real. You have chosen me. Daniel's eyes softened, his voice low. Yes, I have. For a long moment they sat in silence, the bond sealed in more than tradition. It was sealed in choice, in understanding, in shared will. But fear lingered still, the alien asked softly. And when your people see, when your friends ask, what will you tell them? Will you laugh it off as a joke, or will you speak truth? Daniel thought of his friends, their casual jokes, their careless phrases, and he felt the weight of responsibility. He shook his head. I won't laugh, not now. Not after knowing if they ask, I'll say it plain. That I gave food with meaning. That I chose you. And if they laugh, let them, because I'll know what it means. And so will you, the alien's heart surged. Hope blooming like fire, his voice trembled. Then you are braver than many of my own people. For on my world such vows are guarded with fear, but you face it with courage. Daniel smiled faintly. Maybe humans are careless with food, but we're not careless with love. The alien lowered his gaze. Relief softening his face, yet deep inside he knew the path ahead would not be smooth. Two worlds carried different meanings, and somewhere, someday, the difference could bring pain. But tonight there was only choice, and the choice was made. They rose from the bench, walking side by side, not as guide and guest, not as friends, but as partners. Though unspoken to the world, the vow was sealed between them. The alien walked taller, his steps lighter, no longer burdened by silence, no longer hidden in doubt, and Daniel, though still uncertain of the road ahead, felt a strange peace, as if the simple act of offering food had grown into something greater, something eternal. But even as hope warmed them, the alien's mind whispered warnings. What would happen when his people learned? What would happen when humans continued to share food with careless laughter? Would Daniel be accused of betrayal? Would their bond be challenged by tradition and misunderstanding? The questions hung like shadows, waiting for the day when choice would be tested. For now, though, the alien allowed himself to breathe, to walk beside the human who had finally spoken truth, to carry the vow not alone but together. And as the night sky stretched above, one thought echoed in his heart. The choice of hearts has been made, but the trial of worlds has not yet begun. The alien knew the truth could not stay hidden forever. His people would demand answers. Earth would keep sharing food with laughter, and the clash of meanings could no longer remain between two hearts alone. Sooner or later the world would see, and when it did, the bond between him and Daniel would be tested harder than ever. The call came weeks later, a message from his home world. The Council of Elders wanted to hear his report. They had heard rumors, whispers that the alien had accepted human food many times, that he had sealed vows without ceremony, that he had been careless with the sacred ritual, and they demanded an explanation. He stood before the council, their faces glowing on the great screen, their voices stern. Is it true? Have you accepted food from humans without limit? Have you taken vows with no thought? Have you dishonored our tradition? The alien's chest tightened, but he stood tall, his voice steady. It is true that I have accepted food, but I have not been careless, I have not been dishonored. I have been bound to one human, and though he did not know the weight of his actions, he has chosen me with full heart. He has sealed the vow with meaning, and I stand before you joined. Not broken, the elders murmured in shock, their eyes sharp. A human. You claim a human as your chosen. Do you not see the danger? Their people share food without care. They turn our most sacred vow into a joke. How can you trust them? How can you believe their loyalty? The alien's voice grew stronger. Yes, they share food with ease. Yes, they laugh as they pass bites and cups. But I have learned this. Their sharing is not weakness. It is strength, it is kindness, it is a bridge, not a chain. They do not bind with fear, they connect with trust. And when one human finally gave me food with meaning, it was not casual, it was not careless, it was brave, for he chose to carry my world upon his shoulders. At that moment, Daniel stepped forward, standing beside the alien. Though he could not understand the full alien tongue, he spoke through the translator, his voice calm but firm. I gave food without knowing, but now I give it knowing. I share it not as habit, but as vow. I choose him, and I will not laugh at what he holds sacred. I will stand with him even when your people doubt me. The room fell into silence. The council stared, their ancient eyes searching. Some frowned, some whispered, but one elder spoke softly. Perhaps we have been blind. Perhaps we guarded tradition so tightly we forgot that love can take many forms. If a human can choose the vow with open eyes, perhaps it is not mockery. Perhaps it is strength, another elder shook his head. Or perhaps it is danger. Perhaps they will spread carelessness into our blood. Perhaps they will weaken us. The alien's voice cut through the debate. No, they will not weaken us, they will remind us. For too long we have lived in fear of breaking vows. Too long we have guarded food as if it were fire. But humans have shown me another way. Food can be both sacred and simple. It can bind when given with meaning, but it can also bring joy when shared in kindness. One does not destroy the other. The council fell silent again, weighing his words, and slowly the oldest elder nodded. Then perhaps a new tradition is born, not to replace the old, but to stand beside it. Food given in ignorance means nothing. Food given with intention means everything. If your human gave it with intention, then so be it. The vow stands. The alien's chest loosened, relief flowing through him. Daniel's hand brushed against his arm, quiet but steady. Together they faced the screen. Together they carried the bond. When the meeting ended, the alien stepped outside into the light of Earth. The sky stretched wide. Humans laughed in the streets, passing food to each other without thought. And for the first time, the alien did not feel fear at the sight. He felt peace because now he knew the difference. Casual kindness did not break the vow. True intention sealed it, and Daniel had chosen him with full heart. As they walked through the city, Daniel bought 2 cups of coffee, handed one to the alien, but this time his eyes locked on him. Steady, serious. This one's not habit. This one's us, he said. The alien took the cup, his hands trembling. His voice soft, yes, us. And as he drank, the world around him blurred because in that moment it was not just tradition, not just law, not just vow, it was love. And it was real. From that day forward, stories spread among both species. Stories of how humans could take something sacred and honor it. How aliens could learn that laughter and kindness did not weaken vows but made them stronger. A bridge between worlds. A new tradition born from food, from trust, from love. The alien had once feared that every crumb, every sip, every bite would shatter him. But now he knew the truth. Food was not chains, it was choice. And choice had united him with Daniel. And as the stars shone above, brighter than ever, one thought echoed in his heart. Humans may be careless with food, but never careless with love.